So as we talked about just a moment ago, a rational number is a number that can be expressed as a fraction, right? Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to compare and order real numbers, okay? Now, can real numbers include rational numbers also?
Yes.
Yes, it can, okay? So sometimes when we're ordering a number it's a real number, but if it's irrational, the way we can put that in order is to, okay, first of all, if I had like some fractions and some decimals and some whole numbers, what would I have to do in order to put those in order? Like if I asked you to put, I have a couple decimal numbers, a couple fractions, I asked you to put them in order from least to greatest. What would I have to do in that case before I could ever do it? Somebody give me an idea. Take a guess. Anybody? Tardina, what would I have to do?
What?
Look. Let's say I had some fractions. I have this. I have okay, if I had all those numbers, what would I have to do if I asked you to put them in order? What would you have to do in order to put them in order? What would you have to do? I do want them to be in least to greatest, and I want them to be in order, but I can't do it in this format. Why not?
Because they're not all the same.
They're not all the same. I have to get them all into the what? Same format, okay? And what I'm going to do with that, okay, first of all, what would be easiest? I can make them all fractions, but if I made them all fractions, what would I have to do? In order to compare two fractions, if I want to compare 1/2 to 2/3, they would have to have what? Same denominator. And that would be a lot of work, wouldn't it? I could do it, okay, but I don't want to go that route. So what do you think is an easier way? To make them all into what? Decimals? That makes it easy, right? I could put this into decimal form. Does anybody know what that is, by the way? I'm asking. Does anybody know? I think it's point. Somebody with a calculator, do 3 divided by 8 real quick. 0.375? Is that right?
Wait.
It's definitely not negative. Yeah, 0.375. Okay. So this is 0.375. This, what was 2/5? 0.6, or 0.4, sorry. This is just 7. Now, I don't have a decimal there. Do I have a decimal? Can I do something with that? Could I do that? And what is 1/2? 0.5, 0.39. Okay. Am I in a good spot now to put these in order?
Yeah.
Okay, when I put decimals in order, I go from left to right. Agreed? I can have 15 million numbers over there. It doesn't matter if from left to right if this is bigger than this one. Does that make sense? So let's go to the tenths place. Well, first of all, do I have any in the ones place?
Yes.
I have a 7. So I know none of these are going to be bigger than that one, right?
Yep.
So let's go, if we order this, we have from here, 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 and here. Which one of those is the smallest? I have 3s, right? So if they're the same, what do I do?
Go back.
Go to the next one over, right? I have 7 and I have a 9. Which one of those is the least? Okay, so this would be my least. Okay, what's next? Then this one?
Yeah.
Okay, what's next? I don't have a digit here, but what? I can have a 0. So this would be here. What would be next?
Isn't the 7 first?
No, this is order from least to greatest.
Oh.
Okay, so this would be 4th and this would be what? 5th. Okay. Does that make sense how we did that? Okay. What about if you have radical signs? If you have radical signs and it's a perfect square, it's easy. I can just find the what? Square root, right? Question.
How do you find it on a calculator?
How do I find what on a calculator? To change a fraction to a decimal, top by the bottom. So 3 divided by 8 or 2 divided by 5. Okay. So, but what if I have a rational number? What did you learn how to do yesterday? Rhymes with guesstimate. Starts with an E. Ends with stimate. Estimate. You learned how to estimate irrational numbers, right? So if you're ordering irrational numbers, you're not going to need a calculator to find those values. Bless you. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. So let's take a look at this one. Okay? All right. So I've got these numbers. Okay, all I'm doing here is finding which one of these is greater. Okay, well, this first one I can estimate, right? Right? What do you think is that first of all, is the square root of 8, is that irrational?
Actually, yes.
Is that irrational?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's not a what?
Perfect square.
Not a perfect square. What are the two closest perfect squares to that?
2, 3.
4 and 9, which would be between 2 and 3, right? Well, is 8 really close to 9?
Yes.
So if I was to estimate what this would be, what do you think? It's probably around 2.8, 2.9, right?
Yep.
Now look at the other one. How can I turn 2 and 2/3 into a decimal?
So you'd have to make it into an improper fraction and then you can divide it.
You could. You could make that into an improper fraction. Let me see if I can pull this whole thing out. No, I can't. Okay, if I was to turn it into an improper fraction, what's 2 times 3?
It would be 8.
6 plus 2 is?
8.
And 8 divided by 3 would be what? 2.6 repeating, right? So that's really not close, right? Which one of these is going to be greater? The square root of 8 or 2 and 2/3? Square root of 8, okay? Because it's around 2.8, 2.9. Does that make sense what we did? Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, try this one on your own. I tell you what, I'll do this one on the other sheet with you. Maybe. Okay, so I got pi squared and 9 1/4. Okay, pi squared, 9 1/4. Pi squared, 9 1/4. Okay, well, first thing I'm going to do here, can I turn this into a decimal?
Yes.
You should automatically know, what is 1/4 as a decimal? 0.25. Okay? If you don't know that, that's fine. You can turn it into an improper, or you can say 9 and then divide 1 by 4 and you have 9.25. You'll get the same answer either way. Okay? Now, what does pi mean? 3.14, and it keeps going, but we'll just use 3.14. Okay? If I take 3.14 and I square it, what's 3.14 times 3.14? I'll do it in my head real quick. 9.85. So we could even round that to 9.9. Okay, so looking at this, if I was going to compare these two, which one would be greater? 9.9 or 9.25? 9. So I would have it like this, right? Does that make sense what we did? Okay, good. All right, let's take a look at another one. Question, Jackson.
So basically what we're going to do during it, we're going to see what it
For right on these ones, you're comparing them. You're deciding which one is larger. It's greater than or equal to, or
we're simplifying them to replace.
well, yeah, you have to get them into the same form. Okay, like this one, we turned both to decimals. Okay. Yes, Levi.
How did we get pi 9.1?
Okay, all we did because we replaced pi with 3.14,
Yeah, I forgot.
so 3.14 squared. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, let's try another one. Well, or let's look at what's next on this. Okay. So if I have on this one, let's compare these, and they're probably going to be okay. So I've got the negative square root of 6 and negative pi over 2. Okay, remember that because I can't copy it. Write that down real quick. Negative square root of 6 and negative pi divided by 2. Okay. All right, tell me what that was again. Negative square root of 6 and what? Okay. All right, so let's look at this. Okay, first of all, they're both what? They're both negatives, right? So automatically I know I can't compare one to another as far as positives and negatives, because if one of these was positive, would I have to even do any work here? Because a positive is always greater than a what? Negative. But they're both negative. So what I have to keep in mind, when I'm comparing two negative numbers, it's not necessarily the number that's bigger, it's the number that is closer to what? 0, okay? It's like owing $6.50 or owing $6.59. 659 is larger than 650, isn't it? But when it's negative, which one is closer to 0? 650. Does that make sense? Get it? Never mind. Okay. All right, let's estimate. First of all, is the square root of 6 irrational? Yeah, 6 is not a perfect square. So let's figure out, what do we think this is? It's going to stay negative. What do you think? What are the two closest perfect squares to 6? And we're gonna do this in our head because we know how to do it now. 4 and 9, right? Okay. So what's the square root of 4? 2. What's the square root of 9? 3. So we know it's somewhere between 2 and 3, right? So it's going to be 2 point something. Okay, where is 6 closer to, 4 or to 9?
4.
So we might say, somebody give me an estimate.
2.3.
2.3, 2.4. We'll just say 2.3. Okay. Now, what does this mean? This means negative 3.14 divided by 2, right? Okay. No matter what, if I do math here, I can figure this out using a calculator, but no matter what, if I'm dividing 2 into 3, how many 2's go into 3? No matter what's after that 3? 1. So this is going to be negative 1 point something. I can stop there. Why? Because what? Because negative 1 is going to be closer to 0 than what?
2.
Negative 2, right? So automatically I could say what?
You know that.
Okay, and let's just prove it. If I have 3.14 divided by 2, it's negative 1.57, okay? Does that make sense what we did there? Okay, Jackson, question.
You got the 7 because you divided it by 2, correct?
I got the 7 because I divided what by 2? Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Because I used a calculator. I just did it on a calculator. Yeah.
So wait,
I don't think has anything to do with that.
the 5 is because you need more than that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try another one. You guys try this one on your own, and let's see if you get it right, okay? All right, try that one.
Can you use one of the, or is it perfect square, like perfect square?
Hold on. Say again. What was your question? Oh, okay. Yeah. What was your question?
Can you use one as a perfect square?
No. But let's look at this. Okay. First thing I need to know. Okay. No matter what, if I find the estimate of the square root of 2, it's between 1 and 4, right?
Yes.
Okay. This is going to be what? Between 1 and 4 also. But which one of these is going to be closer to 0? Square root, the negative square root of 2. Okay. All right. Huh? No, it doesn't. Okay. You didn't see it. Okay. Yes.
So, if it is just like clearly like greater or larger or smaller, then do we have to solve it or like?
Yeah. If you can tell by looking at it,
Because
because they're in the same format, and you can tell that 2 is going to be, yeah. I agree with you. Okay. What's different about this one? I have to put them in what? I got to put these in order. Okay. See these 5 numbers. Okay. So let's tell you what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to put these in order from least to greatest. Try this a different way. Okay. Let's see if I can crop this.
Oh yeah, there's.
You guys see a crop button anywhere?
No.
Or you just pull it. Don't you just pull it down?
We'll just do it right up here. Okay. Well, can you see them now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I have square root of 30, 6, 5 and 4/5, and 5 and 5.36 repeating. Okay. So first thing, let's take a look at how can I get all these into the same format? I can make them all decimals, right? This one is good, 6.0. This one is already decimal, so 5.36 repeating. Okay, can I put this into decimal form? What is 4/5 written as a decimal? Does anybody know? 5.8. Okay, and this one, what are the two closest perfect squares to 30? 25 and 36, okay? And is this pretty much right in the middle?
Yeah.
So what would we estimate this as? I would say probably 5.5 would be a great guess, okay? Even if I did 5.6 or 5.55, whatever, okay? So looking at this now, which one of these would be, if I'm going from least to greatest, which one of these would be the least?
5.36.
This one, okay? So this would be, I can just put them in order, 5.36. By the way, when you put them in order, put them in their original format, okay? So that was first. Which one was second?
5.5.
This one. So I'm going to put radical 30, okay? What's next? 5.8, so 5 and 4/5, okay? And then the last one will be what? 6, okay? Does that make sense how we did that? Do we need to do another example, or is this good? All right, good. Let's